Help me welcome Leo with his speech titled, "It is a Long Walk Home."
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Have you ever had the experience of riding a school bus to school? Maybe when the school bus stopped at your stop, you ascended the steps and went to your seat. Well, my speech today is going to be a brief history of school bus safety. Now, as mentioned, my 17 plus years of school bus driving has given me some experience. I've known what safety issues are happening in a bus. And I'm going to address some of those issues, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a history. Now, driving a school bus is fun. Well, maybe. Work? Yes, it's work. But is it rewarding? Definitely. That is the most important part I can tell you about me being a school bus driver for the last 17 years. It is rewarding. Now, there's a sign in the bus driver's room at the bus barn. This sign's posted on the wall, and it's something that every student should see, and we should really post it on the front of the bus that says, "Be nice to the bus driver. It's a long walk home." What is a bus driver? Well, first of all, I want you to realize that there are a lot of different ages of kids on the bus. Some are very young, some are very old, but they all have a similar quality. Some of them don't know what's going on. So here are some of the issues that you have as a school bus driver. A school bus driver does precision guesswork. Emphasis on the guess. It's based on unreliable data, if you're talking to a 6-year-old, provided by questionable knowledge as someone who thinks they know everything. That could be a senior in high school. The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration has determined that school buses are the safest way to transport students to and from school. But the first vehicles that were used to transport students to schools are far from safe. In fact, they were just farm vehicles. They were horse-drawn buckboards, just flatbed boards on steel wheels pulled by horses over rough ground. Now, if you can imagine being on a buckboard that has no cushion at all, going over a rough road, that definitely is going to be a bumpy ride. That's going to be not very safe at all. And I can only expect that maybe sometime in the life of the students, some probably fell off the wagon. And I don't mean from drinking, they fell literally off the wagon. But over time, improvements were made to these buckboards. There were side railings that were put along the side. There were hard benches that were put around the perimeter of the bus, so kids had some place to sit. But there was still a far cry from the safe vehicles that we have today. Now, let's go to 1939. I know that's a big jump, but by that time, cars have been built. There have been engines now, gasoline engines, and there was an easier way to get buses around. They started putting motors in buses. And on top of that, they would put in rubber tires, springs, padded seats. Man, you had luxury now. There was more comfort there ever was on the buckboards. Now, these standards that were made back in the 1939, the size of the bus, the shape of the bus, and the fact that it had all these other things, the padded seats and seats set in a certain way. These standards have been modified and changed over the years, but one standard that was set in 1939 has never changed. Yellow. The color of the bus is yellow. Why yellow? Because yellow can be seen at dusk. It can be seen at sunset. You can see it easy, no matter what the light of the day is. Now, as student population grew, with the baby boom generation age, the school children started to be centralized in town rather than local out in the communities, meaning there needed to be more transportation and more buses. And in 1970, there was another major change to buses. Flashing amber lights were warning drivers the bus was going to stop, and flashing red lights, they alternate to say the bus has stopped, we're letting students off, do not pass this bus. In fact, it is illegal to pass a bus with the red lights flashing. That is if you're within one lane of the bus. Now, I have driven new buses which have new safety features. One of the easiest ones that I like is the speed control. By speed control, I mean as you take your foot off the accelerator, if you leave it off for more than 5 seconds, the bus will automatically just gradually start to slow down until you push your foot on the accelerator again. Now, the benefit of that is, number one, if you see something coming up you need to slow down for, the time it takes to take your foot off the accelerator and put the brake is reduced. The best benefit is coming down the steep hills, and we have a lot of them in the Washougal area, that you can let the bus more or less coast because it won't go faster than 35 miles an hour if that is the speed you want it to go. It's like a cruise control, and you can look at the road, look for students, look for stuff that's on the road, deer that are crossing the road. And it happens quite often. We have animals that decide to run in front of us. So the brakes, the automatic brakes was a good thing. Now, things have improved even more. In 2022, buses are being tested for being electric as well as compressed natural gas and propane buses. Now, maybe that's not quite a serious safety issue, but it's something that's moving the bus forwards in terms of being better. And as technology moves forward, so do the buses. But safety is number one, always, always important. Today, the school bus is safer than any other vehicle to get your students to school. So when you get on the bus, be nice to the bus driver. It's a long walk home.